Hey, welcome to Cyber Talk with Bob and Chris. I'm Chris.
I'm Bob.
That's Bob.
That's one way. Yeah, there we go.
That's the wrong way. Hey, we got an interesting one this week. With the holidays coming up, we're doing this a little early. So happy Thanksgiving. Hope you have a really great weekend. And next week might be weird because I won't be in the country, Bob. So that might be a little fun. So if we do something, it might be, I might have a good backdrop.
Okay, cool.
So, let's talk about DraftKings. So,
oh wow, yeah.
Personally, I like sports betting. I'm a big sports guy, and I do love sports betting. But I also understand the importance of making sure that I protect my account. And a couple days ago, people in DraftKings didn't protect their account like they should, and they got a bunch of money stolen, which I think we need to kind of talk about that and kind of cover why this isn't just about DraftKings. This can equate to a lot of other things. So
yeah, I saw some of the DraftKings stuff too, and it looked like it was a lot of money, but it wasn't an excessive amount of money. It looks like it was $300,000 spread across multiple people,
yep.
And based on what we were talking about earlier, it's a bunch of people using the same passwords again. When are people going to stop using the same password?
So let's talk about the actual attack. So the attack is something called a credential stuff. It's called credential stuffing. All it is they bought a list of email addresses and passwords, probably from some dark web marketplace, or they took it from like a leaked compiled list or something like that. And they have automated tools that just submit those credentials against DraftKings in this case. Once they had access to the account, they made a $5 deposit. They linked a bank account, made a $5 deposit. If that went through fine, they turned on 2FA on the account. So 2FA wasn't on the account. So they had to use the phone number and turn on 2FA. So that way they changed the password, turned on 2FA. That means they locked the actual person out of their account. And then their whole point was trying to pull all the money out of the DraftKings account or transfer money into their bank account in DraftKings and then pull money out that way. So yeah, to your point, 300K is a small amount of money considering, what that could have actually happened. But in DraftKings credit, they said they're going to make it whole with their customers, but it's not DraftKings' fault. This is 100% on their customers not doing just basic cyber hygiene.
Yes and no. I would still put some blame on. DraftKings from a monitoring perspective if accounts are getting hammered with passwords from known IDs, unless they were spreading out the way they were trying to log in.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to probably get that information. Like maybe they were only submitting credentials every 10 seconds or 15 seconds.
Right. But the fact that you said DraftKings is going to make everybody whole, if they didn't, that's a lot cheap. $300,000 is probably a lot cheaper for them than the PR related to fix from the negative PR from it.
Yeah, and I mean, they could probably just not run one commercial this week and save more than $300,000 because you don't see those everywhere. But the point is that credential stuffing can be used across any site. So take a site that you use every day. Maybe you buy stuff on Amazon all the time, but you don't have two-factor authentication to turn on Amazon. Somebody can credential stuff Amazon, go into your account, add an address, and just ship a bunch of stuff to it.
Yeah, well, we I literally just came off a call with doing a assessment review, and part of our assessment, includes going in and trying to crack passwords in the environment. And we uncovered one person had the same password on 40 different accounts. So that username and password, if that was sitting in the dark web, that's 40 potential breaches.
Yeah. And remember, this is all automated. This is not somebody manually going to these sites and logging in. They just get a list and they feed it into some automation tools, and they go out and they actually do the credential stuffing.
Right.
And a lot of times it's not going to be done over one website either. They're going to pick a bunch of different sites.
Unless they've all automated and people aren't necessarily targeting individuals. They're buying the list, and this week it was DraftKings. Next week it might be Staples. Someone logs in the Staples account, they get access, they can start ordering stuff, having it shipped to some location where they're going to go recover it.
But also, if I'm doing what they're doing, which I would never do, but like going after a sportsbook, knowing that bank accounts are linked, or PayPal accounts are linked, or some sort of debit card is linked, there's a chance you could actually extract more money.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about just as an individual is make sure when your investment accounts, same deal, right? Let's say you have a Fidelity account or a Robinhood account or something like that, and you don't have 2FA turned on, and somebody credential stuffs that. Well, guess what? You have a bank account on there that you're making deposits from. Maybe what if they went in and sold all of your stock? You take the tax hit, and then they add a bank account really quickly, and they drain your investment portfolio. That's a legitimate thing that could happen. Now, sure, they're gonna have some fraud stuff built in the background, and you hope that their fraud stuff stops it. But let's not rely on hope as a strategy. Let's actually make sure we turn to a fan for this stuff and understand that. Look, anytime you have your bank account listed or something like that, where there's not quite as much fraud protection, you really need to take care of this. Password managers will help you.
And we talked about multi-factor a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and guys, remember if you have the option, always use app authentication over getting text messages. Chris shared how easy it was to hijack phone SIMs and get those
Yeah.
text messages someplace else. If it's
But
an app-based authentication, it's a hell of a lot harder.
yeah, and sometimes you're not given that option, so you're gonna have to use your cell phone. But again,
Yep.
something would credential stuffing is pretty much stopped dead in its tracks with 2FA. So if you have 2FA, the credential stuff would never have worked. So all these accounts that were compromised did not have two-factor or multi-factor authentication turned on. So
Yep.
just kind of a this is more of a PSA for just like the holidays, but it's so incredibly important right now because maybe you're buying a bunch of stuff from websites or like we talked about investment sites, you maybe not pay attention. You're
So,
distracted. It's a holiday season.
I actually wonder when we're going to see a questionnaire coming out for homeowners insurance that asks if you have multi-factor authentication turned on too, just like we are on the business side. You
That's
know,
true. Yeah.
because some of these losses might have been covered under some of the personal homeowners policies from a loss perspective. I don't know, but I'm just thinking that maybe that in the future, now cyber awareness everyone has to be cyber aware, and I'm going to bet the insurance companies are going to bring it all the way down to the consumers.
Well, and there may be a regulation that gets put on sports books too and things like that where 2FA is a requirement. Like you can't even you don't give people an option. That might be something that comes. And maybe out of this, maybe the good that comes out of this is DraftKings does force it for everybody.
Right, but one of the ways that I've seen people verifying bank accounts in the past was, how much was your last deposit?
Oh,
Well, if
yeah,
I just gave a $5 deposit to that account, I know
yeah,
what it is.
yeah. But I mean, just to get access to the account, if they would just if they had 2FA forced on, it would have been something that wouldn't have been able to be
Yep.
possible, or some other verification process for logging in. So
Anyway, I think, what's the moral of the story this week really is,
yeah,
change the damn passwords. Don't use the same password over and over again. And
please, please, please. We don't want to beg you, but like honestly, we probably should beg you. It's just it's just incredible because like these people, like if you read the horror stories about this, they knew their accounts were compromised, but they couldn't get through to support, and they just watched their accounts got drained, and they're sitting there watching it, and it's like there's nothing they could do.
So that brings up a really good question. You mentioned password managers, and people have asked me all the time. It's like, well, which one should I use? Are they safe? And if what if it gets compromised? And people really don't understand that. Some of those password managers really aren't. The password manager company doesn't have access to those passwords. You have to use your password to recover it, and so it's not like you're putting all your passwords in an Excel spreadsheet and storing it up with some provider. It's getting locked in.
Yeah, they should be encrypted in a vault, and you're gonna have to provide like the decryption key basically. So same thing is like it's think of it like a safety deposit box. The bank can get to your safety deposit box. I guess technically they could open it, I guess.
The drill.
With a drill, right? But like it only gets opened if you show up, verify who you are, and you have a key, right? Like you have to that's the idea with a password manager is you have a passphrase that protects it, and you're the only one that can get access to it. And for whatever reason, if you lost that passphrase, you'd lose access to all your passwords, but passwords can be reset.
Yep. So
Just don't forget your email password because that's usually the way you reset passwords. So, make sure that's
make sure that one's secured the most.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Turkey Day. Turkey Day's coming up.
Yeah.
I think it's time to get out of here and let the holidays start and enjoy your turkey tomorrow. And that's all I got.
I'm having ham. I'm not having turkey. It's terrible for Thanksgiving. But we're thankful for everybody that watches this. If you give us any feedback, we're thankful for that too as well. We're just trying to help people understand the things that are going on. We see these news stories and whatnot. We're trying to touch on some of that and just kind of maybe elaborate on it and make it a little bit easier to understand and give real world context to it. I think that's what we're trying to do here.
It's all about providing some education to really help
Yeah.
people understand that the risk is there. It's not just the big guys that are getting hit, and want everybody to stay safe because I'd rather plan ahead than fight a fire afterwards.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's hard to sports bet, so getting your account drained kind of sucks. So, but everybody have a good Thanksgiving. Have a safe weekend, and next week when you see us, I'll be in a special location.
Because for Thanksgiving, I'm thinking turkey. Chris is thinking ham. So comment below, turkey or ham.
We're going for ease of cooking. So, but I'll be in a secret location next week, so we'll